I gotta admit, the end of the Fever Mercury game made me sit up for a second because it got a little spicy with Caitlin Clark having an interaction with DeWanna Bonner out on the middle of the floor, sort of waving her back to the bench. But that interaction stood out to me for a couple of reasons. I mean, number one, obviously, is the history there, where DeWanna Bonner was on the Fever for a cup of coffee and then winds up on the Mercury. Before the season, Caitlin Clark said she wanted to win a ring for her. Right? You know, like she said, I want to win for her. And Caitlin Clark went out of her way to also, shine light on how DeWanna Bonner had risen up to the top of, near the top of the all-time WNBA scoring ranks. And then
that's the clip, that's the moment the story they're selling you falls apart. They want you to believe this was just a spicy moment, a heated exchange between two competitors. But that's a lie. What you just heard was the sound of loyalty being thrown back in someone's face. Caitlin Clark, before the season, went on record saying she wanted to win a ring for the DeWanna Bonner. She publicly praised her, propped her up, and welcomed her. Oh, Indiana. And what you're about to see is how Bonner repaid that loyalty. This wasn't a fight. This was an execution. This was cold, calculated revenge from Caitlin Clark for a betrayal so deep it happened in the shadows, and tonight I'm dragging it all into the light. This is the story they don't want you to know. Stick with me, because nothing in the WNBA is a coincidence. Let's rewind the tape to understand the revenge. You first have to understand the crime. When the DeWanna Bonner signed with the Indiana Fever as a free agent, it was sold to the fans as the perfect partnership. Here was the veteran presence, the mentor who would help Clark and this young core build a dynasty. Clark herself bought in completely. She talked about Bonner's legacy, her place in the all-time scoring ranks, and her desire to get Bonner that elusive championship ring. It was a public showing of respect, a public declaration of loyalty. Clark put her own reputation on the line and vouched for Bonner, and it was all a lie. After just 9 games, Bonner wanted out. She requested her release, packed her bags, and left the team high and dry. Now players move teams all the time. That's business. But this wasn't business. This was personal. This was a level of disrespect that you rarely see exposed to the public. We only know the true depth of this betrayal because of Fever guard Sophie Cunningham, who had the courage to speak the truth on her podcast. She revealed that Bonner didn't just leave, she vanished. She goes to them.
Player on the damn team. I'm not just saying that just to say it. Lexi Hall stand on business when it's time to. Now, we all know that the Indiana Fever is trying to make a push for the playoffs. We've been getting mixed signals coming out about Caitlin coming back, about Caitlin being, somewhat ready to go. Then we got Stephanie White saying it's day-to-day again, basically. Well, I'm here to tell you, Caitlin Clark is not shying away.
Cunningham laid it all out. It was no good goodbye, no tax to the team group chat, nothing. She said it's okay to be professional about it. And send a text to your teammates, just be like, hey, sorry, this didn't work out, good luck. But Bonner couldn't even offer them that basic human decency. She took the welcome, she took the public praise from their superstar, and then he walked away without a single word, leaving everyone feeling betrayed. Cunningham admitted there was a little beef because of how it was handled. A little beef, that's the understatement of the year. This was a declaration of war, and don't let anyone tell you Clark forgot about it. She's not wired that way. She files everything away. This isn't even the first time these two have clashed. The bad blood goes back to last season's playoffs. When Bonner was with the Connecticut Sun, there was a verbal exchange, a light push from Clark after a no call on one of her shots. The tension was already there. Wander's betrayal in Indiana just threw gasoline on the fire, and Clark was just waiting for the right moment to light the match. So let's fast forward to September 2nd, 2025. The Fever are playing the Mercury. Clark has been sidelined for 19 straight games with a groin injury. She's in street clothes, a non-factor in the game itself. She's a sitting duck, and that's when Bonner saw her chance during a timeout on or start to walking toward her bench. But she's joining at the refs complaining about a call. She's making a scene. And she does it right in front of the Fever bench, right in front of Caitlin Clark. This was the moment Bonner thought she was picking a fight with an injured player. She thought she was being tough, showing up the superstar who couldn't fight back, but she made a fatal This calculation, she forgot who she was dealing with. She didn't realize she was walking right into a perfectly laid trap clock. Didn't hesitate. She came off the bench and confronted her courtside audio, the kind the league probably wishes never surfaced. Caught what happened next. Clark wasn't just talking trash, she was shutting Bonner down with facts. Something that will follow Bonner for the rest of her career. She doesn't shove her, she doesn't scream. And her face, she does something far worse. She dismisses her with a simple, sarcastic, condescending wave of her hand. She waves Bonner back to her bench like she's shooing away a fly at a picnic. That wave wasn't a reaction, it was a statement. It was a message sent to Bonner and the entire league. That wave said, "You betrayed us, you disrespected me. You are nothing to me, now go away." It was the culmination of months of simmering anger unleashed in one perfect viral moment. It was the ultimate power move delivered by a player who wasn't even in the game. The internet, of course, understood it. Immediately, the clip exploded. No one was talking about the Mercuries. When no one cared that Bonner scored 19 points, all anyone could talk about was how an injured Caitlin Clark made a veteran look foolish without breaking a sweat. The captions wrote themselves. Bonner was pressed, rattled, salty. She became a meme in real time. She thought he was picking a fight, but she was just the final piece of Clark's revenge plot. This is what they don't understand about Caitlin Clark. They think they can get under her skin with physical play, with cheap shots, with trash talk. But they're playing checkers while she's playing chess. She knows every shove, every dirty look is just another clip for her highlight reel. Another brick in her empire. She feeds off of it. She uses their hate as fuel. Bernard tried to use her veteran status as a weapon, but Clark turned it against her. She made her look old, desperate, and completely irrelevant. The irony is sickening. Bonner left the fever, betrayed the team, goes to the player who wanted to win for her, and then had the audacity to start a fight, and her punishment was to be publicly humiliated with a single flick of the wrist. That's not just a bad night, that's a legacy-defining moment of embarrassment. That's instant regret playing out on a national stage. Some people might call this petty. Some might say Clark should have taken the high road. For those people don't understand what it's like to have your loyalty thrown back in your face. This wasn't about being petty. This was about justice. This was about drawing a line in the sand and letting everyone know that if you cross Caitlin Clark, she won't just remember it, she will make you pay for it when the cameras are rolling and the world is watching. And the most chilling part of all this, she did it from the bench. She took complete control of a national W and be a narrative while wearing street clothes. She won the war without firing a single basketball. That is a level of power we have never seen before. This brings us to the bigger question. One the league office in New York is terrified to answer. Is this just about Bonner, or is Bonner just another soldier in the quiet war being waged against Caitlin Clark? You see the patterns everywhere, the biased officiating, the welcome to the league moments that look more like assault, the endless parade of veterans lining up to take their shot thinking they can diminish or star power. They are all making the same mistake as DeWanna Bonner. They think they're challenging a rookie, a young player who can be intimidated. They don't realize they are challenging a cultural phenomenon, a master manipulator of the media, a player who understands that the modern game is won in the court of public opinion just as much as it is on the hardwood. The DeWanna Bonner was just the latest lesson, a public service announcement courtesy of Caitlin Clark. Her revenge was so perfect, so complete, that Bonner will never live it down. She's not remembered for her points, she's remembered for being waved off like a child. But the story isn't over. This was just one battle. Clark is still injured, and the veterans are still lining up. The question you have to ask yourself is if this is the cold-blooded revenge he delivers from the sidelines. What is she planning for when she gets back on the court? Who's next on the list? Because I'm digging, and what I'm finding suggests this goes deeper than any of us can imagine. The betrayal might have started with Bonner, but it certainly doesn't end with her.